The
Hmm.
fact is the people who are going to walk into your store probably already have, and the people who haven't are not going to be coerced into your store through an email. And the same thing's for wholesale.
Hmm.
Like, it's just not effective. You got to find something else. Now, where we lose out to the big companies is where people like Nike can bombard people with advertising, and it's like Malcolm Gladwell talks about the tipping point when people see a product enough and it's in their it's part of their socially acceptable world, they'll begin to indulge in the product, like how Hush Puppies came to be. But it's like Lululemon. You see everybody wearing those hoodies with those the appropriately placed Lululemon logo up the front of them. It looks great, and they just hit the tipping point where everybody must have one because everyone else already has one, and you want to be socially acceptable too. And
Well, and it's so ubiquitous, and it's in your mind, even if you don't even want it to be there. It's
there.
just it's present in your consciousness.
And that's something that big business can do that we can't do. We just can't afford to mass market on every billboard around town like a Walmart or something until there's no billboards left to poster on. But
Sure.
the only way you're going to get a new customer in a small business is by making a personal connection. And I just find that it's like going to school these days. It's like they've raised the bar by telling everybody you need an education to succeed. So now everybody has to go to school and get some sort of undergraduate degree before they're a human in the world. But that still doesn't count to get you any job other than H&B or a coffee shop. So you're now working a minimum wage job with $20,000 in student loan debt, as is everyone else next to you. And now you got to go get your master's so you can get the $40,000 a year job. Like, it's just raised the bar. So now I have more work that I have to do in order to achieve the same level of success. And through all of this new media and technology, the big guys have only gotten bigger and the small guys have gotten smaller.
Interesting. Well, like I said, I'm not a proponent of one or the other.
You're not supposed to be too opinionated when you're doing an interview either.
That's not why I'm coming. That's not why I'm asking the question, because I want you to, think a certain way.
No.
Absolutely not. Okay. Well,
Secretly undercover working for what is that company called I just showed you?
I forget.
Whatever.
You sort of answered this next question. Your promotional techniques, obviously your promotional techniques are about direct interaction with people. That's
As
sort
much
of
as
your
possible.
Well, the question I had was, I guess you've sort of answered it. Like I say, it's not about. Well, some businesses market by saturating.
You gotta have a lot of money to saturate.
Yeah, you gotta have saturate people.
Yeah.
Or you have to. It's intrusive advertising. Like you're handing it. Like you're putting even like flyers in mailboxes, right? It's like. It's being imposed on you.
And we could do that possibly, but the reason we can't ethically is that we have a responsibility when we say we're a sustainable company to not create more flyer waste. And I think that doing ad campaigns like that would actually work against us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
you mean?
interesting.
So, the alternative to, at least the way I see it, you can be.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Enjoy the weather. It's not going to last forever. Bye.
So you're kind of, this question doesn't maybe apply to you so much because you're obviously not intrusive in your advertising or your promotion. You do things. You involve yourself through association, like the burlesque events. You engage in the actual experience of selling in the store, which translates into word of mouth. The other end of the scale, though, is how you are findable. If there's someone looking,
that's the hardest part.
If someone is looking for something that you do, but they don't know about you, how do you address that?
That's really tough. I really like doing the press releases, but when the economy was great and everybody was paid to be a writer, they couldn't get enough press releases because they were being paid per word. And if they could just change your press release enough to make so it's not plagiarism, you've just created an article they're being paid for, and you'd be printed in everything. We had so much press. Press was the best. Press is great. It's reliable, believable, emotional. People love press. They don't trust ads.
When you say press, that
articles.
Does that have to be printed press, or are you talking
Anything.
about online press or anything? Yeah.
Anything. On radio, TV, anything.
Okay.
Any press you can get. Press. People really listen to that because I guess they feel kind of like it's been filtered or researched. Like there's, but since people aren't paid anymore, it's almost impossible to get somebody to accept a press release. So we send them a lot to bloggers now because bloggers run out of content. And I think that it's created more work for us, again, because I think most of those blogs are irrelevant, but every once in a while you might get in with a good one.
Right.
And we still have to have all the online presence and everything. The thing I really think we're still dropping the ball on, but it's really hard to see where we get the money to front for it because you don't really come out cost neutral anymore, is trade shows, because that's how you do the word of mouth. Hello! We used to be able to like directly talk to a customer, but ever since the economy flipped, you can't make money back at a trade show. People seem to be really, really weary of trade shows. They seem to realize that we're there to, we have to pay our costs, and those trade shows are extremely expensive to do, and the prices have only gone up since the economy tanked, not down. And another one I find that's a problem with them is all the big businesses get all the best spots, which discourages people not only from going to the shows because they feel like they've seen everything, but when they are there, they often don't explore the nooks and crannies, the perimeter of the show, the corners of the show, and that's where all the small interesting businesses are, because that's not only what they can afford, it's the only thing that the trade show will give them, because they've promised the good spots to big business. So you go to EPIC, the Sustainable Convention, and it's car companies in the whole middle of the room. After that, on the next layer, it's coffee companies. And by the time you get to the outer, after you're past the energy efficient bulbs and the solar panels, on the outer limits of the room, you find the clothing designers or the really creative people with the really interesting niche products. Because if the trade show doesn't put Toyota in the middle, they won't come back next year, and they're paying the bills.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I've really kind of lost interest in them, but that was really great for people finding us. Google's hard. Google, we should definitely focus on doing more keyword search for our company, but I just can only do so many things at a time right now. And the other thing that Lightspeed's going to do is it integrates with our online retail store so that we will be able to post every product available online, and our retail store will be a lot nicer, because right now the only things you can buy online are tights and underwear, because they're the only things I can guarantee to have stock on. But once we have it integrating with our product, if we sell out of the product in the store, it takes it off online, and especially when you're doing such few items, we could have smalls and larges left, but if we have no mediums, we currently can't post the product. But on our website, when you try and purchase a medium, it'll say, you're out.
Yeah, that's obviously
Perfect.
a huge
That'll make that's why I've spent $4 grand
bonus.
between that and my other, see you later, my other investment, my biggest two key investments right now are staff for customer service, because they're my most important frontline issue, and the second one is that POS system. And I'm like, I don't have any money to do any print media or any sort of marketing or anything right now. If we can just get those two things going, that'll boost our sales.
No, I can understand how that would work. Shauna does that's the same sort of
that'll do
same
it.
sort of pursuits.
That's the most important stuff we can do.
Okay, last question.
I love the new stuff.
Thank you. That doesn't seem to be very much. I'm glad you think so.
Almost done. Just the last question, and you've sort of touched on it. How do you gauge the effectiveness of your
That's
promotion
really
of-
hard. That's really hard. One thing is my favorite is Google Analytics. I love the analytics programs online, but I find that online is not accurate for real life, because a lot of the people who are searching you online are things like your competition. Like, I like searching Twig and Hottie a lot to make sure I'm not making the same product, but when they look at their analytics, it's not telling them somebody's looking at the product. It's telling them
They're just on
they've
the
got a
site.
customer, and they're going, we did something right, we got a customer, but it's really inaccurate. But it's like the only thing we can do. With the Lightspeed, it's going to be great. With the Lightspeed, we're going to be putting our customers into the system. We're actually going to be able to track them perfectly. That's going to be really nice to see who's a repeat customer, what they typically buy, who their friends are. We're going to be able to network that and make a spec out of it. And things like this, like with the underwear cards, they're great. We can track the sales on that. But tracking the sales is hard. I mean, we track our sales, but the effectiveness of our ad campaigns to our sales, the only blessing I can count is that we're so small that there can be no other factor. If we only did one thing and our sales go up, other than the weather, we've got only one factor.
Right.
And frankly, the biggest factor in such a small business is staff. They make the biggest sales. They take it outside of the store. They talk about it to their friends. Their friends come visit. Their friends bring friends. Staff and light speed. Staff and light speed. When you start your own company, staff and light speed. That's all you need to know.
I know.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
Well,
It's not very much on the design.
that's okay. Well, like I
We
said,
just sell design with everything we make.
that's fine. Like I said, the aspect that I had to focus on was the whole marketing, self-promotion. It's a course in it's professional practice. It's called. It's all about the logistics of running a business or interacting with clients in business and the legalities and yada yada.